Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ron Vandeveen, President and CEO of MetLife Stadium. I'd like to welcome you here today. On behalf of the New York Giants and New York Jets, we're so excited about the announcement today. As you know, MetLife Stadium hosts the world's biggest events on the world's biggest stage. As you can see today, we have a major announcement to make. With that, I will get right to it. I would like to introduce the Governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for all being here today. I want to obviously thank the Giants and the Jets. Mr. Marrow, welcome. Good to see you. And it's a really exciting day for New Jersey, really exciting day for the city of East Rutherford, and one of the true great games in not just college football, but in all of football, will be returning to New Jersey for their 122nd contest. We're proud to announce that MetLife Stadium has been selected to host the 2021 Army-Navy game, which will take place on December 11th, 2021. And that'll be the year we're going to be recognizing, believe it or not, the 20th anniversary of the attacks of September 11th in 2001. And I think we're greatly indebted to the folks at West Point, at the Naval Academy in Annapolis, for giving New Jersey the opportunity on that 20th anniversary to recognize the sacrifices of the people here in this state and in our region by moving the Army-Navy game here to MetLife Stadium. This game will be the 5th time that Army-Navy has been played in New Jersey, but the first time that it's been played here since 2002. Now, they have down here that I'm supposed to give the score of the game in 2002, but I like the folks in Army, so I'm not going to give the score. The Army-Navy game is a week-long celebration. It's not just one day. It has great economic impact on the place that hosts it. Studies have shown that the economic impact is over $30 million. It'll bring somewhere around 50,000 new visitors here to MetLife Stadium and to our region during that entire week when people come to celebrate what has become really the best rivalry in college football. And bringing it back is just another example of the leadership of the Jets and the Giants and the ownership here at MetLife Stadium. You think about the things that have been here, certainly Super Bowl 48 right here at MetLife in 2014. The year before that, WrestleMania 29 was here at MetLife Stadium. The Special Olympics were here in 2014. Copa America Centenario, the soccer final, was here last year. Bruce Springsteen, U2, Coldplay, enormous concerts that have been held here as well. I remember coming here as MetLife Stadium was getting ready to open in 2010 in my first year as governor. And the promise of this place was that it was not just going to be a place that was going to be exciting for 20 football games or so a year, but it was going to be a place that was going to be exciting throughout the entire year. And that was the commitment that the Mara and Tisch family and the Johnson family made when they built MetLife Stadium, and today is another example of they and the team that they've put together fulfilling that mission. We're happy at the state to have taken the steps that were necessary to be able to help along the decision that Army and Navy made to host this game. Part of our job is to create an atmosphere in the state where people want to come here, want to be here. And the great attraction that MetLife Stadium it is contributes to that, and the support that the state is going to give for the performance of this game in 2021 is another important element of making sure that we attracted this game back to New Jersey. We know, as I said earlier, that part of the decision-making process here was to make sure that an appropriate tribute was made to all those people who have sacrificed in the aftermath of September 11th, 2001. And to be able to have this exactly 20 years and 3 months after those attacks will be, I think, a particularly emotional and poignant moment for the men and women of the Military Academy and the Naval Academy who will be here to root on their teams, for the men who will be playing for Army and Navy that day, who also will be part of defending our country moving forward and meeting the mission that was placed before us on September 11th, 2001, which is not just for our military men and women, but for all of us to contribute to protecting the homeland and making sure that our country is kept safe for all of our 300 plus million citizens. So I want to thank the Sports and Exposition Authority, their CEO, Wayne Hasenbaugh, who is here, Chet Gladchuk, the athletic director at the Naval Academy, Boo Corrigan, the athletic director at the Military Academy. I got a call about 3 months ago. I know this was a setup, John. I got a call from Roger Staubach saying that the state had to step up and do everything we could, that we were on the 5-yard line and that we needed to get from the 5-yard line into the end zone. I noticed they didn't have Phil Simms call me, but they had Roger Staubach call me. John will be happy when I leave, by the way, in 5 months, and he's hoping that I don't know what Guadagno and Murphy are in terms of I'm afraid that Murphy might be a Patriots fan, John, which could be even worse. But Staubach called and said how important he thought it would be for the game in the 20th anniversary of 9/11 to be here in New Jersey, and so getting the endorsement of someone who's played in this game is important. I want to also acknowledge Pete Dawkins and his presence, an important public figure in the state of New Jersey, a Heisman Trophy winner, and somebody who the state of New Jersey is enormously proud to call one of our own. And it's great to have you here, Pete. I'm glad that you're here as well. And everybody who works at MetLife, you've done a great job. You've made this place an attraction for the entire country and the world to come and to perform, both athletically and artistically. And so we're very, very happy that New Jersey will be the host in 2021. And so I want to introduce for some remarks, I'm the athletic director at the United States Naval Academy, Chet Gladchuk. Chet.
Well, thank you very, very much. Thank you all for being here. Needless to say, it's an incredibly special moment, and so much of it was reflected in the governor's comments a moment ago. I don't think anyone could say it any better in terms of the emotional tie and what this game means to us, being right here in New Jersey, just 11 miles from ground zero. So thank you, sir, for your leadership. You were exactly right. Ron said we're stuck on the 5. It's exactly almost verbatim. You must have called Roger to call the governor. Okay, but nevertheless, we put it in the end zone, which was terrific, and it was because of with the closer, so to speak, that made things work, and that's just so much a part of the energy and the enthusiasm that's needed by the community and the state and the mayor and everyone else that's involved to make this game a reality. The bidding process was actually a little lengthy. I think it was lengthy this time around because of the quality of those that applied to host the game. We had an RFP process. We went through it in great detail. There were some wonderful cities, all NFL venues, and there were a couple of baseball stadiums that threw their hat in the ring. But in the final analysis, when you look at the requirements of hosting this game, there is no venue better anywhere than where we are seated today, right here in the Meadowlands. And the job that you did, Ron, to make it work was just really incredible. I mean, the detail, the insights, anticipating questions that would be coming your way. Matter of fact, we had a press conference, or it was really an RFP review with Ron, and before we could ask a question, he had already provided us an answer. So well thought out, and of course, really, just a tremendous effort on your part and the governor and everyone else. So thank you to everyone. Mr. Mara, thank you. Mr. Girth, thank you both. I mean, it doesn't happen without the Giants and the Jets, or the Jets and the Giants. I mean, either way, it's a wonderful venue. You've done a magnificent job of creating something here that everyone can be proud of. When I watch the games on television, we're proud of the facility and the way it plays out. We played here, as the governor mentioned a moment ago. We played a football game here just a little while ago, and I was mentioned to Mr. Girth a moment ago that the way the stadium transforms into something other than the Giants or the Jets, but it transformed into a Navy home game, to be honest with you. We played Notre Dame here, and it was just amazing with the video and the way the technology was able to change the venue. And I can just envision how spectacular this venue will be with a full house, 80,000 plus people out there, Army on one side, Navy on the other. and the emotion that comes with something as special, as this particular matchup will play out beautifully, in this venue for that special occasion, again, that the governor mentioned. I wouldn't belabor it because, again, I couldn't elaborate as well or be as articulate as he was. But I will say this, that it was a factor in our thinking, trying to find a way to make it work here in the shadow of Ground Zero. And it did on all fronts. And I think that the best of the planning is yet to come. As we look at, the game itself will be played out, as a football game, with all the bells and whistles that go with it. But I think the week leading up to that game and all the surrounding activities and the attention that's drawn to something that's so revered and so important and so much a part of our lives that happened 20 years ago will make this a moment of reverence, a moment of unity, an opportunity for our nation to come together and rally around something where we can display the freedom, we can display the the next generation of leadership, and those being our cadets and those being our midshipmen. Rolly and Roger, thanks. Where's Rolly? Rolly is here somewhere. There he is, Rolly. Excuse me. Thank you. It was your encouragement and Roger's encouragement. Again, there was a big part of it, being Hall of Fame and alumnus of both institutions. I mean, they did a great job of making it all work. The last thing I would say is that, one dimension that's going to be quite exciting also, I thought was a real great feature, in the proposal was to actually host the gala, which we do, which is a magnificent, call it pep rally, where Army and Navy come together with about 1,500 people in the room, and the spirit is just over the top. And the gala is going to be conducted at Ellis Island, which is kind of neat. I mean, you talk about taking it all back to our roots. Probably most in this room have some tie to your heritage that goes back through Ellis Island. But when we had an opportunity to spend the afternoon there and just get a feel and a sense of what that can mean, again, to the package in its entirety and the way the game is presented is going to be something that is really a special day. So I would like to thank again everyone. I would like to tell you it was not an easy process that we went through, but it was a process that was comprehensive. And as they say, the cream rises to the top. And that's exactly why we're here today, because the best of the best rose to the surface. And we look forward to having a magnificent experience, bringing America's game right here to the Meadowlands. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Boo Corrigan, my associate at Army, will now say a few words. Boo.
Thanks. Well, as I just told the governor, I'm not sure what else there is left to say after that, but we're thrilled to be here. Ron, thank you for everything that you've done, Mr. Governor. Thank you as well to the families. Thank you. We're at two places that are very special, and we get the privilege of being the director of athletics there every day. And as we look at what it is and who it is, it's an opportunity to represent the best that our country has to offer. And that's who the cadets are. And whether they're on the fields of friendly strife, as we say at West Point, or out here on the football field or wherever they are. And I had a wonderful opportunity this summer to go to Afghanistan with our superintendent to visit the troops when we were over there, and the excitement about the game. Clearly they were excited because we won. I'm not naive to that, but just the excitement that they had about what this game represents and who it is, and the opportunity to share it here in New York on the 20th remembrance of 9/11 is something that I don't think any of us will ever forget, one. And two, I think as we went through the process, each time we talked about it, I know I found myself getting emotional. It's just the pure idea, and I get chills even talking about what it will be at that point in time, and just kind of picturing from the march on to the anthem to the game itself, and to both teams singing the alma mater at the end of the game. It's truly something. If you don't get chills, I'm kind of worried a little bit about you. But I'd also like to thank USAA, our presenting sponsor, for all they do to make this happen. It's something that made the commitment a number of years ago. And I think as you look at the game and who we are and what we are as a game and the continuing pushing forward of the game itself, it would not be possible without USAA. So to Admiral Byrd, thank you very much for representing USAA. We greatly appreciate all that y'all have done. With that, what I'd like to do is kind of go a little bit off script. We're in football season, so we can call an audible right now, but we'd love to have the governor come up and accept a couple of football helmets from us.
Sure, if we get away from this table, it'd be terrific. Yep, there you go. Thank you very, very much. You must have a credenza somewhere.
Yes, we do.
There you go.
All alphabetical,
Exactly.
When you're dealing with those tough issues, you can put either one of
Either one of those on or both.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Depending on the day.
Thank you. With that, I'd like to introduce the Senior Vice President of USA, Admiral Byrd. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. What a fantastic stadium. What a great place to have an Army-Navy game. I'm already excited about it and looking forward to it. Governor, thank you. Thank the two athletic directors, the Jets and Giants organizations, and all that made this very important game possible. USAA is proud to be the presenting sponsor for the game. It's our 9th year, and we have a contract to do it through 2025. Me personally, I'm proud to represent the more than 32,000 employees of USAA, and more importantly, the 12 million military, veterans, and family of military that we proudly call the members of our association. As it's been said, the Army-Navy game is not only one of the oldest but most enduring rivalries in college sports. It's a tradition like no other. It epitomizes everything that's good about sports. Clean, healthy competition, great play, and certainly a very intense competition that we all very much enjoy. But more importantly than the football game, and as we've alluded to, is the foundation it is built on. These two service academies, the idea of sacrifice, discipline, and service to their country. Let us not forget that these young men and women that will be here for that game have raised their right hand and sworn to serve their country, to defend all of us, to defend our nation. Like the governor said, it's an exciting thought to believe the game is going to be brought here in 2021. We do. Army-Navy does have a long storied association with this area, and certainly there can be no better way to do it than in 2021, as we said, recognize, remember the horrible tragedy of 9/11, and at the same time commemorate and celebrate their heroism of that day of the first responders and the ongoing heroism in the years that have followed by our military, their family, and our veterans who've served overseas and around the globe answering that horrible tragedy. I had a great opportunity to serve 35 years in the Navy, and I can tell you this game has global appeal. It's not only along the East Coast and the alumni and the service academies, it's all the veterans, the Army, the Navy, the sailors, the soldiers, whether they be at sea, overseas, deployed. As we said, they huddle around in the most unique places, cheering on their team and having great camaraderie. So as a company that is founded by the military, for the military, it's a great honor for us to be a small part and show some support for our military through our association with this rivalry between Army and Navy, and a larger honor and love for the men and women that serve in our military. So we are very proud. Now it's my honor to introduce Rollie Stitchway, who needs no introduction, an Army football great, Army legend, and for us, he is the co-chairman of the host committee, along with Roger Staubach, a Navy football great. And as Rollie reminded me, he and Roger shared in a great rivalry in 1963 and 64, trading off victories between Army and Navy. And although they were arch rivals on the field, it is typical of Army-Navy, once off the field, they're great friends and brothers in arms. So without further ado, if you'd come up and join us.
Well, it's great to be here today with you all. It's a real honor and privilege. And let me tell you about the Roger Staubach, Rollie Stitchway coming together. It happened when where's Mike Stevens, the VP of Marketing? Where is he? Raise your hand. Come on. There he is. So Mike and I have known each other, and a year ago, called to say, could I come over from Connecticut, where I live, to visit with John and talk a little bit 12 months ago about the possibility of a game here at MetLife Stadium. And to make a long story short, what was presented, you've heard all the themes here from the previous speakers, did a great job. And that's what John was laying out in terms of his vision for having a game here at MetLife Stadium 12 months ago. And so I said, gee, it would be a privilege to act as a co-chair with Roger, but we better check with Roger. So I gave Roger a call that same day. And as John said, Roger and I are not just rivals on the football field years ago, but have become very, very, very close and special friends and brothers. So I did call him the same day we had the meeting 12 months ago. And it took him 11 seconds to say, that's a great idea. I'm all in. Tell me what you need me to do. So that's how this all started in terms of the co-chairman responsibilities. Now, the final word on the game came in just last week, basically. So Roger's down in Dallas, as we know, had really, really tough commitments, couldn't make it up here. But I did ask him if he'd do a short little video. We're going to share that with you momentarily. And just a little story on that. Roger called 2 days ago, Sunday morning, and said, gee, did you see the video yet? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, yeah, what did you think? I said, it's perfect, perfect. He said, I have to tell you something. It was my third or fourth take because I was supposed to do 2 or 3 minutes, and I had my 2 or 3 discussion points, but I was so excited about this thing. I was going like 12, 13, 14 minutes, and my executive assistant was giving me the time out. And he said, so I had to break it down, and you're going to see sentiments from Roger here now, if we could, and then I'll finish up with some brief comments and throw it open to questions, okay? So here comes Roger.
My name is Roger Staubach, and I really apologize for not being in New York today at the press conference. But it's been a real honor to serve as co-chair of the New York-New Jersey host committee for the Army-Navy game, especially with my good friend Rollie Stitchway. And it seems like yesterday I had a chance to play in my first Army-Navy game. I was a nervous wreck, couldn't sleep the night before the game, and I remember as a plebe I was sitting in the stands watching the game, and here I was a year later. The President of the United States was there, and it was a heck of a game. We fortunately came out as a winner, and I think I did throw for 2 and run for 2. I don't want to talk about it, but it was a good win for Navy. The next year we played the game on behalf of President Kennedy, and we had the tragedy when the president was assassinated in 1963, and the family asked us to play the game on his behalf, and it was a heck of a game. We were in good control. We were ahead 21-7, but we never got the ball back because they had this great quarterback, Rollie Stitchway. He took over and had a long drive, went in and scored, 1 for 2, got the 2 points, and then they had an onside kick that he recovered. And he recovered, took them down to about the 2-yard line, and time ran out, and we were fortunate to win in 63. And in 1964, Rollie took it to us, and we lost the Army-Navy game in 64. But I had a chance to play in 3 Army-Navy games, and they were a thrill of my life. I was more nervous before that first Army-Navy game. Didn't sleep the night before. I think that's the most nervous I've been before any game I've ever played in. And I had the privilege to play in 3 Army-Navy games. And the games today, I still can't wait for the Army-Navy game. Even before I went to the academy, I was watching Army-Navy games. There's something about, it's not just the football, the game itself. It's about the men on the field that are going to be out fighting for us someday, guarding our kids, our grandkids. And of course, the men and women are at the academies now also. And our academies are future leaders in this crazy mixed up world today, we need that leadership. And so it's watching a football game, but it's watching the future leaders of this great country. And so it's a fantastic event. And having it in New York and New Jersey and MetLife Stadium is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to that. It's such a great market up there for both the academies to be there. The interest in the game is all over the country, but having it in MetLife Stadium in 2021 is going to be a lot of fun, and I sure look forward to it. So it's a privilege again to be part of the committee, and looking forward to the Army-Navy game coming up this year, but I'm also can't wait for 2021 to see the Army-Navy game in New York, New Jersey, and MetLife Stadium.
Now, I have a little display. This is a $1 bill, and at the top it says, "Congrats from Roger Staubach, December 2016. This is the wager that I won from Roger for the last Army-Navy game. It doesn't come close to recouping all of those prior losses, but okay, here it is. Just to finish up here, great to hear from Roger, and we did chat just a couple of days ago, and it struck us as an extraordinary similarity of circumstances in the country back when we played in the wake of the assassination of JFK. The Army-Navy game, believe it or not, was going to be canceled, even though Roger, in our respective junior years, the greatest athlete I think I've ever seen, college or pro level, had earned the Heisman Trophy junior year, but because of the assassination, the game was going to be canceled. Jackie Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy insisted that JFK would have wanted to have that game played, so there was a 1-week delay. And the point is that in the context and atmosphere of our country at that time, you can imagine if you weren't experiencing that, the profound sadness and the feeling of dismay and concern that prevailed throughout the whole country. And the Army-Navy game was played, and a fellow named Jack Ford of CBS did a documentary just a few years ago, entitled it Move On, because that game was indeed a catalyst to help move people from their state of mind at that point back to a united point of view with great enthusiasm, now looking forward. And I think today we have many challenges in our country, and I think there's a lot of divisiveness. And I think, again, with these men out on the field, rivals on opposite sides of the ball, figuratively and literally, on the one hand, and on the other hand, coming together as Navy SEALs and Army Rangers and Special Ops and protecting us, that's the kind of united country that we want. And this can be a wonderful, wonderful message to convey that to the entire country. So again, it's a pleasure. Roger and I have been privileged to serve in this role, and we can't wait for this game. So thank you very much, and back over here, I think, to Helen. Are you going to? Okay.